and welcome back to Gapey's Greenhouse. It's the end of March already, and we've got lots of stuff bolting in the greenhouse. So we've got some flowers popping up here on the kale and the tatsoi there. But let's take a look here first. This here is the spinach, and I'm not seeing any bolting or flowering on the spinach yet. We've still got the I think there's 3 varieties here. But I've been harvesting a lot of this almost every day. There's a lot of leaves and they're just growing pretty quickly there. And then of course we've got our tatsoi here that's bolting, lots of flowers. I'm surprised I haven't seen any bees in here yet because bees really love brassica flowers and tatsoi is a brassica. So if they saw these in here, I'm sure they would be all over it. We do have some other kale down here. And this one is not flowering quite yet, but it looks like it's getting close. I think this might be the kaleidoscope kale, but I'm not positive. I started these in here a lot earlier than the other kales. And then we've got our parsley, which has turned into a nice little bush here, but it does look like it's putting out some shoots like it's gonna flower. So I don't see any flower buds just yet, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time before it starts putting some out. And then we've got our kale here. This is the curly leaf kale, and we've got lots of flower buds on all of the kales here, but they haven't opened up yet, so I'm still harvesting some of the leaves there. I plan to make some kale chips here in the next couple of days. And then we've got our Bare Necessities kale, and most of them I think are not flowering yet, but this one here in front, if you look real close, there's a big cluster of flower buds there in the middle, so that one is just about done. So I need to harvest some of these leaves here. But this Bare Necessities is not good for kale chips. I did give it a try last year or the year before, and the leaves on this one are just so thin and tender that it just did not do well for kale chips. So that's better for fresh eating, like in salads and stuff. So this one here, yep, this one's got a bunch of little flower buds there in the middle, and I'm sure this one is getting one too. And then we've got a little cilantro here volunteer that's popped up. I usually have a lot more cilantro volunteers this time of year, so I'm not sure why there's only, I think that's the only one I have right now. So I'm gonna treasure that one. I haven't harvested any off of it, but I probably will here pretty soon. And then we've got some radishes that I started I think a month ago or so. We've got 2 different varieties. This one in the front here is, oh, what is that? Japanese wasabi. That's what that one is. And then we've got Pusa Gulba here. So they're both doing pretty well. I got 1 row of each. And then I planted some extra lettuce here. So these are just lettuces I had left over from when I was repotting those inside. And they seem to be doing pretty good here in the greenhouse without any kind of acclimation or anything. I just popped them right in the ground. And then we've got our Swiss chard. So it's looking like it's pretty ready to harvest there. I haven't harvested any of it yet, but I think it's about time I do. And that's it for this side of the greenhouse. Then over here on this side we have the Wasabi Arugula, and you can see that is flowering right now. So I've just been harvesting a few leaves here and there of that, and I did pull a couple of them out. So there's a bare spot there where I pulled one out and I fed it to the chickens. And the radishes didn't do very well, the ones that I started really early. I had a, let's see, I think it was a daikon radish here, and I actually pulled them all out because there was just no root and they were starting to bolt. And then I also had the icicle radish, and I'm not sure if that's what, I think that's what this one here is. But as soon as I see them starting to bolt, then I just harvest them. And some of them had a nice root and others didn't. This one isn't looking, that's a pretty pathetic looking root. I think it's probably because I planted them too early, and so they didn't have enough sun or light to grow much. And then these are more radishes that I took from the other side of the greenhouse. When I was doing some thinning, when I thinned them out, I just planted them over here. And I've had pretty good success doing that. So we'll see how those do. And then we've got another little parsley bush here. And then I put a few more of those lettuce seedlings on this side of the greenhouse as well. We got one there, and then one back there. And then we've got our monstrosity of mustard. So those mustard greens have humongous leaves. So they haven't started bolting yet, but they usually bolt a little bit later than everything else. But I'm probably gonna see some bolting here pretty soon. But these leaves, look at how big these are. Just gigantic. And then we've got another tatsoi here that is flowering. It's the same thing that's on the other side, so I'll probably pull that here pretty soon. I was hoping the bees would find it, but if they don't, then I'll just take it out. And then up here on the shelf, I've got some stuff that I'm trying to root. I've got some blueberry cuttings here, and then these are some elderberry cuttings I took off of my other elderberries, which are right here. So these elderberries, these are the original ones that I had from last year, and they're just really happy. They're putting out all kinds of green growth. So I've got that one there, and then I've got another one right here. So there's a lot of leaves coming out of there. And then this is something I just picked up last week. These are Evergreen Huckleberries. So I've got, I think there's 15 of those. So I've got 3, 4, 5 here, and I think I have 10 over here. But I got these at a native plant sale last week. So I'm planning on doing a hedge of these out in front. But I'm going to leave them in containers here until they get a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll plant them either next spring or maybe in the fall. We'll see. And then I've also got some fig cuttings in here. Well, they're not quite trees yet, but they are pretty strong cuttings. I think they're about a year old. These are ones that I got from a local fig grower in Seattle. So this one here is the Tacoma Violet, and I plan on planting this one out in the backyard probably in next spring. I'm thinking that'll be a good time to get it, but I want to keep it in a container until it gets a little bit bigger. So we've got that one. And then let's see, right behind me we've got a couple more. So this one is the Bourgeois Gris, and I have this one in a self-watering container that I got from the same person as the Tacoma Violet, but this one is doing really well. I think I counted about 9 leaves that have come out on that one, so that one's pretty happy. And then just recently I got one more. This one is the Figo Preto, but this one hasn't quite broken dormancy yet. It is just starting to put out some leaves, just about, probably another couple days and we might see some leaves on there. But we've got some bud here, and then we've got another bud here. And we have seen some freezing temperatures at night in the last week or so, so I've been bringing at least the 2 that have leaves inside at night so that they don't freeze. But the other one hasn't quite leafed out yet, so that one I've just been leaving in the greenhouse. We should have the next, I looked at the forecast and we're supposed to be in the 40s at nighttime temperatures, but you never know what happens. So I decided to put my space heater in here today because I'm getting tired of moving the fig trees back and forth at night. So I'm going to leave that in here, and I think it's 45 degrees. If it goes below 45, it'll come on. But that's the lowest setting it has. So we'll just see how that goes, and hopefully these figs will grow very well in here. So that's it for the greenhouse for this month. I'll do another update next month. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.